Please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. I post a new Tom Brady video every day.
And you can have your problems with the reason why Antonio Brown's still out on the field. And you know, I had my concerns about his mental health here, to the point where somebody who I enjoyed interviewing and seemingly enjoyed being interviewed on this show unfollowed our account and me because of what I was saying about his problems off the field and how somebody needed to get him sat down and tell him, hey, you need to work on yourself. And whatever he was able to do to get through everything, and just Google it, what the everything is, and be allowed to play in the NFL, he's now back. And he's now playing like the AB when the Pittsburgh business was booming. And Gronk's out. And he was just beginning to be a mainstay like the old days, despite him trying to get his sea legs back under him last year. It's all cooking. Won't be perfect, but it's all cooking. And the reason why I think that it's all cooking and all these players that used to have problems elsewhere are now doing it well here is twofold. One, Bruce Arians is just one of the greatest managers of people and coaches that you'll see. That's one. But then 1A that might make Bruce Arians the 1A is TB12. Because I was telling this to Cooper today when he said, Dad. My son, Coop. He says to me today as he wakes up, he goes, Dad, did the Bucs or the Eagles win last night? Because, he went to sleep before it was over. Yeah. And I just gave him this look. What do you think? And a 10-year-old knows what that means. He goes, so Brady won. I'm like, yes, he did. And I basically told him that what Tom is doing is remarkable, not because of his age, but because of his level of play and professionalism. Others around him are better. He makes other people better. That's what I want for you out of my kids, is when you do what you do so well, others around you have no choice but to want to follow in your example. They have no choice but to do their best to match your excellence. That's what leadership is. And that's why the Bucs are like, Tom, what do you need? What do you want? Of course Antonio Brown's business is booming. Of course Leonard Fournette is doing this. Of course they wanted to come back and do it. Why not? When TB12 is showing you the way at age 44.
Here's the bottom line. Brady has thrown more passes this year, or they have thrown for more yards. They have thrown a greater percentage of their offensive plays have been passes than any other team in the league. They're not asking Tom Brady at 44 to be what Baker Mayfield is, which is a complimentary piece. They're asking Tom Brady to be the MVP of the league, which you could argue right now he is. He's in the discussion. He is on a pace to break the all-time single-season passing record in 16 games. In 17 games, he's on pace to throw for 6,000 yards. But to be clear, he is on pace to break it even if the season was only 16 games. That defense, they got to get healthy, but they're not what they were a year ago. They're not running the ball the way they did a year ago. I think it is reasonable to say Tom Brady is being asked to do as much as any individual player in the NFL is, and he's 44 years old. 81% of the Buccaneers' total yards this year have come on passes. Only one team since these stats first started being kept, which was in 1932, had 80% of their yards come off the pass, and that was the 1940 Philadelphia Eagles. No team has ever depended on their quarterback like this in 80 years. And Brady's almost that old. So can it be sustainable? If so, he's not human. He's not a human being. I will demand to see some proof of his humanity, because he is 44 years old. It cannot just continue like this. I know I'm the last person or the only person who thinks that.
Tom Brady's workload may be getting a little out of control. Look, I know, aren't you the idiot who said he was going to fall off the cliff like 11 years ago? He could go on forever as far as I know. But he's 44 years old, and he's leading the league in attempts, completions, and yards by quite a bit. And by the way, this is the first ever 17-game regular season. And by the way, he played more football than anyone else last year because he won the Super Bowl, right? So that's a big workload. Don't the Bucs at least have to be a little careful here?
I think Tom is uncommonly wired to have the kind of resilience and staying power and fortitude and toughness, whatever word you want to use, to see this through. Otherwise, he wouldn't have come back, and he wouldn't have come back at the level that he has come back if he hadn't prepared for this. And he told us, he gave us a warning in the offseason that this year was going to be better than it was last year because he was healthier, his knee felt better, the team was much more familiar with one another, and that he was going to be ready to go right from the get-go. And he is proving all of that to be true. Now, would you like for them to be a little bit more balanced in terms of run-pass ratio? Sure, you would. Because I think anyone would like to make sure that he is playing at his optimum later on in the year and that he is feeling as fresh as can be. But in the meantime, it's about stacking W's, man. And this guy has clearly put in the work. He's put in the work, and he is defying all of our expectations. Right now, we shouldn't have any expectations of him, good or bad. Just ride the wave, and let's see what happens.
I've noticed a lot of comments regarding the Bucs could have won by more in the last 2 games and that they took their foot off the gas. And those are valid points that are made, no doubt about that. However, I would like to point this out. They've played 3 games in 11 days. One of those games was Brady returning to Foxborough, so it was one of the most emotionally and psychologically draining games ever for the whole team too, mind you. On top of which, they've had to deal with so many injuries. JPP, Sean Murphy-Bunting, Carlton Davis, Antoine Winfield Jr., Gronk, Brady's thumb, and a whole host of other players. So I'm happy to take the win. I'm happy they left a few points on the field. Can you imagine what they'd be like with rest, some well-deserved R&R, and everyone back again? They're improving a little each week, and Brady will have them peak come playoff time. No one's going to want to face the Bucs when they're at their best.
My compadre, Kurt Warner, tweeted out today. He played in 116 National Football League games in his career. 116 starts in the NFL. For Kurt Warner, Pro Football Hall of Famer out of those 116 starts. Did you see this tweet from Kurt today?
I did not.
116 starts. He threw that tweet up there. And he pointed out last night was Tom Brady's 112th career game, in which he merely threw 40 times in the game. And Kurt played 4 more games, period. Enough to make the Hall. And Tom, at age 44, hit the big 4-0 in attempts in a game for the 112th time in his career. And he's 5-1, moving on. Once again, looking across at a kid trying to make his bones against him and Jalen Hurts and saying, good game. Unbelievable. Bucs to NFL. Look out.
Also, football last night. Tom Brady, well on his way to breaking every single season record there is for a quarterback in his 40s. Might even break some of them for any age. He came into week 6 leading the league in passing yards, second in touchdowns. He threw for just under 300 yards, 2 touchdowns in a 6-point win against the Eagles. You know, it was 2007 when Brady had 50 touchdowns. That was 14 years ago. Now with an extra regular season game, he's on pace for, I don't like to do on pace, but, you know, we loved saying, well, he could be, it's like when somebody throws 5 touchdowns, you know, first week, and you go, he's on pace for, well, yeah, I guess technically he is. But what he's done so far, it's a surgical approach. And you saw that last night. You know, granted, slicing and dicing in the Eagles, but he has Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. Antonio Brown looks wonderful. Leonard Fournette was a big hero last night. Gronk out, won't be back for a couple more weeks, but Brady doesn't need to add anything to cement his legacy, but he's doing it. And he said he'd like to play. He could play for another 10 years.
not that I'm ever bored with great football, but it is so easy now for Tom Brady with all these weapons. At least sometimes in New England, you could see him struggle, especially in the last 3 or 4 years. You could see Brady getting frustrated. There was drama. He's so good this year, it's boring. It's pitch and catch. And Tampa is the opposite of last year. The offense is way ahead of the defense. The offense has more talent. It's why the Buccaneers now are elite. It's because of their offense. They are so deep now that they literally showcased their tight end O.J. Howard last night, many suggesting they want to trade him at the deadline and wanted people to see that he still got it. This pivot for Tampa from a losing franchise, a team with no momentum, a head coach that comes out of retirement, to winning a Super Bowl, 5-1, every general manager in the league has to look at this and think, 2 teams, Chargers, Bucks, made an offer for Tom Brady. It is now remarkable. It is so easy for him, and I never see Brady as a cocky guy, but it is so easy for him that yesterday he told Hannah Storm, I'm not joking, I could literally play, he said, until I'm 50 or 55 if I wanted to. I don't think I will. My physical body won't be the problem. It's just missing too much time with my family. He's like literally they're showcasing a tight end last night on the road against a team that's not terrible, Philadelphia. He may play till 55. This is, sometimes people do stuff in your business. You don't even have to work with them, but they do stuff in your business and they make you money without you knowing it. Like Brady is making so many veteran quarterbacks money right now. It's now embarrassing that only the Chargers and the Bucks went all in. You're like, what? There's like 9 teams in this league that can't get the quarterback right. It's just hard to wrap your brains around. Loserville, USA, Tampa, Florida, couldn't win games. You just insert one great piece. They already had good players, and they are now winning easily on the road, showcasing tight ends. Tom May played a 50.
This is the scenario for Brady. It feels like he would walk away after winning another Super Bowl. But I don't know, because you keep thinking, like, nobody passes up. It's like billionaires don't pass up money. Athletes don't pass up championships. Like, if LeBron thinks the Lakers are still going to be contenders, he's not going to walk away. And I can't imagine Brady's going to go, nah, I've had enough winning. Now, it could be about his family. That would be the reason. And that's why I didn't think he would be playing this long, because what his wife had said a few years ago when she was on the CBS morning show, and she brought up Tom's concussions. Well, Tom's never been diagnosed, I don't think, with a concussion. She said, well, he's had concussions, and she wants him basically to walk away. That's 4 years ago. So I can't imagine him, unless Giselle says, you've got enough. You got to come home. And sometimes we don't realize this. And I've mentioned this before in my life. I was working at ESPN. That's where you want to end up. And then my wife said, you're going to continue to work there, and your kids are going to be all grown and out of the house. In your mind, you're like, no, I'll see them. Well, it's the smartest thing I ever did. I came home. That was it. Just came home. And Brady will eventually get to that point. And, you know, I was a little bit older than Brady when I decided that I was going to come home. Not much older, but you realize that.
That's it for this video. I post a new Tom Brady video every day, so please like and subscribe. That way you'll always have a new Tom Brady video to watch every single day. Thanks for watching.